Okay, what do I wish to be watching today? Something classical? Something new? Something scary? Not scary? I just do not know. Let's just see what's on the TV guide, shall we? Some Scooby-Doo thingy on right now. Let's go ahead and see what that is. Whoa! Stop! Did you see that? That thing popping out of the ground and breathing fire and all that other amazing stuff. Oh, wow, this looks amazing. Oh, okay, I have to start this from the beginning. I have to watch it from the very beginning and enjoy this masterpiece as it was meant to be enjoyed from the very beginning. Oh, this is going to be good. Greetings, the world of the internet. I am the great Matthew Squeak, and welcome to Squirrel Talk Review. Throughout the community of Scooby-Doo fans, it is widely regarded that the worst Scooby-Doo movie ever conceived is Monsters Unleashed. Yeah, yes, it kind of is, but this one is way up there too in the badosity levels. After having great success with the first few Scooby-Doo movies, Warner Brothers decided to start off factory-producing Scooby-Doo movies. Being forced to pop out one of these every year can take a major toll on quality. And while I did enjoy some of these factory-produced direct-to-video movies about the talking dog, this is one that should have never left the drawing board. And since we're still in the month of scares, we are going to watch it. This is Scooby-Doo, The Legend of the Phantasaur. The movie begins with some weird musical intro. I know they say Scooby-Doo several times, but this doesn't speak mystery. It doesn't speak Scooby-Doo. It speaks weird jazz number. Let's just cut past this weird intro and we see Shaggy screaming.
I've been screaming like this.
Almost 3 hours!
Nothing really new here. So it turns out that Shaggy is stuck screaming or something, but Doctor's more interested in other things.
Is that a dog?
Broadly speaking, yes.
You can't have a dog in the ER.
I'm not a dog, but an hallucination in your mind.
So after spitting out some inappropriately placed jokes, their friend is in a medical emergency. Doctor finally does his job.
Hey! Stop screaming!
Why didn't that work when we tried it?
People listen to doctors.
Yeah, 'cause this guy is way more comforting than his friends. We have a flashback of how Shaggy got into this situation, as the movie tries to pay homage to the original cartoon. I appreciate the homage, but you have to do it right. Animation is beautiful, using Haunted House from the opening, clever. You even got them back into their classic garb. But the characters and humor is off. Their strategy for this movie, thus far, has been to spew out as many jokes as possible and hope they stick. That is not how good humor works. Jokes need timing, pacing, and most importantly, if all you do is tell jokes, it leaves little room for plot or character development. I know the original was a little obsessive with their laugh track, but they spent most of the time on the mystery. Back to the flashback. This rather long flashback. This is not the Phantasaur. This isn't the mystery I came to see. Nor is it the mystery they advertise. This is just to kick the main plot going. Why couldn't they just put the opening credits during this segment? We don't really care what's going on here. They don't even care. They skipped the trap altogether, and the villain's plan was...
Once we'd scared everyone off, we could have bought this place for next to nothing.
buy a beat-up, run-down house for cheap. Because there's a serious market for those. We only wanted to know what caused Shaggy's condition, and it turns out he saw a ghost. like he always does. And he screamed, like he always does. This mystery really wasn't out of the ordinary at all. They even make a joke about it.
So that's a normal evening for you, is it?
Yeah.
Sure, pretty much.
So Doctor here diagnoses Shaggy with
From acute threat avoidance hypertrophy disorder.
made-up words, and the prescription is to avoid all things scary. He might as well be allergic to air. Being a coward is what Shaggy is. That's like saying a fish is H2O intolerant. More importantly, though,
But that means the end of the Scooby-Doo gang. So is there a cafeteria here, or what?
Cafeteria food is yummy, yummy, yummy.
I am so glad that they interrupted what could have been a deep character developing moment with an inappropriately timed joke. Here I thought this movie was going to be more than a string of poor timed jokes. Oh, it gets better.
This is so, boring. What are we supposed to do if we're not solving mysteries? Hey, Shaky Joe, what do you do in your spare time? I knit. It's a scarf.
It's funny because he shakes, and probably has Parkinson's.
Disclaimer. Parkinson's is a very real and serious disease that affects many people every year, and we here at Squirrel Talk would like to acknowledge that this is absolutely no laughing matter. We thank you for your understanding.
Shaggy quite literally says he's scared of everything, so he's pretty muchly screwed. And Scooby is extending the boring and slightly offensive scene.
It's not coffee.
Is this supposed to be entertaining? The squirrel drinking coffee and hoodwinked or over the hedge was funny because it aided the plot in an overly ridiculous fashion. This is not helping the plot. They don't go anywhere with it. It's here to give Scooby something to do instead of focusing on a real important issue that the gang is having.
Any ideas?
Like, how about the anti-gravity effects of caffeine?
You don't have to be making noise or having things jump across the screen every moment to keep us entertained. Quiet moments or moments of conversation minus jokes work. They actually improve the movie. Zombie Island had them, Witch's Ghost had them. Those were the movies that started this craze, because those movies were freaking awesome Scooby-Doo movies! Annoyingly extended scene later, Fred needs to go to a dino dig conveniently next to a spa for extra credit, because a serious medical condition isn't enough to drive the plot.
You will soon be approaching your destination.
I thought you disconnected the GPS, Fred.
It was a long drive and I needed directions.
Except that on the way here, it took us to 5 chili joints, an all-night bowling alley, and a meteor crater.
And don't forget the tattoo parlor, huh?
Like, I will never forget the tattoo parlor. When I flex, it looks like it's chewing.
But you said in the scene before you were scared of bowling. And you're not scared of needles? A very common fear, and they don't even make a joke about that. They set it up, they just don't say it.
Didn't the doctor forbid Shaggy to get into this van?
He told him not to get into the mystery machine. That's why I repaid it.
That was a figure of speech, you morons! So they travel to this spa and meet the owner, who is blind or hard of seeing or weird. I don't know which.
If it isn't Frank, Danny, Veronica, and Slappy.
It is funny because he never pronounces their names right. I think.
Yes, we'll be open to the public next week. I would have made it bigger, but I couldn't get the locals to sell their land.
That's too bad.
Yeah, but what are you gonna do? Dress up as a ghost and scare them off?
Well, we can X him off the suspect list. The fact that he said that now makes him the least likely person to be the monster at all.
Oh, nah.
Movie's barely started and I'm already eliminating suspects. What kind of mystery is this? They catch some grub.
We even made up that little song. Stop, stop, stop.
Stop singing!
And Scooby and Shaggy decide to walk to the dig site where they first encounter... Wait a minute, that's not the dino I saw when I was channel surfing earlier. What happened to that guy? Well, Scooby was the only one to see this thing, and to avoid giving Shaggy a panic attack, he pretends to make up the entire thing, and they just forget about it for a while. We cut to the rest of the gang exploring the dino dig.
Not enough kids are going into the sciences these days. They all want to be game designers, even Windsor here.
What? Just because I took a couple of computer animation classes doesn't mean...
Oh, I'm just giving you a hard time.
He just said something about his talents that wasn't a meaningless joke. Meet our prime suspect, everybody!
Windsor's my best student.
He sure is.
Okay, where do I start with this one? Too obvious. Everybody knows that one. Well, at least everybody but the people that made this atrocity. So, even if we disregard that, why the heck did you make them look so much alike? Their heads, their faces, glasses, hair, smile. It's almost like you copied and pasted Velma's head onto this guy. And what makes this extra creepy and disturbing is how obsessed Velma is with him. No matter how I look at this, I just see Velma dating herself. It's just wrong and creepy. Back to the plot, Scooby finds a rare bone that the scientists were looking for.
Put the bone down and back away slowly.
What is the point of this scene? Why is it in the movie? Absolutely nothing. Doesn't go anywhere, doesn't come up again. Finally, the dino reappears, and the paleontologists are strangely not frightened by it.
Interesting. It somewhat resembles an Appalachiosaurus, only glowing and not extinct.
The glowing reptile chases the duo down some tracks before Fred shoves the lizard off a cliff with the mystery machine.
The mustard machine?
I'm not calling it that. So Shaggy has gone through another panic attack, and after giving this riveting history of the Phantasaur, that would have been more interesting earlier, seeing as how he had a mural of it, Wackadoodle here uses hypnotism to help Shaggy.
Like hypnosis?
No, it's more like... hypnosis.
He uses an overcomplicated hypnotism machine to send us through a drug-induced trip. So now Scooby-Doo now has the stereotypical hypnotized keyword gimmick that has a keyword, in this case the very commonly used word bad, to snapping Shaggy back and forth, and no one seems to be able to figure that out. They have a brief contemplation about the mystery dino, but...
I think Windsor's eyes are the color of sea foam by moonlight.
Duh! For a second there, I thought you were looking into a mirror! And thus our investigation phase of this mystery is done for a while. We need to watch Shaggy pick a fight with some biker thugs.
There goes the bladder.
Come on, movie, have some class. Yes, wetting yourself is a mark of fear, but this is a low blow even for a Scooby-Doo movie. So big shock, the keyword gets said, and Shaggy goes Jack Reacher on the bikers. Okay, Shaggy is out of character, even more than the... Why do we keep cutting to that? You can't even stay focused in your own unfocused scenes, movie! Shaggy challenges a biker to a bike race and snaps back to normal. Meanwhile this is going on, the others are actually doing a bit of an investigation. Good thing too, I was beginning to question whether this was a Scooby-Doo movie. They follow some suspicious tracks.
So maybe giant snakes are coming up from the caverns and clustering together into the shape of a dinosaur. I know it sounds weird, but is it any weirder than a ghost dinosaur?
What happened to no such things as ghosts? The tracks go into a suspicious tunnel.
Stop! Do not move.
Hi, Windsor.
Hello, Velma.
Ugh, you just had to weird me out some more, didn't you?
What? Oh, yes. Sorry, stop. Don't go in there because it's full of snakes.
I'd say that's important.
Then what are you doing down there? And they further point that out that a lot of people are going into a place that nobody goes into. And now for the viewers at home, we're going to play the What Shall We Do Now game. Do we A, follow the tracks into the suspicious tunnel to see what the suspiciously acting paleontologist is hiding, Or B, do nothing so we can have a pointless bar fight and more creepy flirting? Time's up. If you answered B, you are correct. Your prize is to keep watching this movie. They ditch the useless characters and run into these nameless villains.
We got another geo report today. 98% sure there's silver down in that old mine.
Too bad the land isn't for sale.
Yes, too bad. But maybe we'll get lucky.
Right. Maybe this mysterious Phantasaur will scare people so much they'll decide to sell us their land.
There it is. Don't want to leave evidence lying around.
We know who the villain is now. They pretty much just admit it. What's the point of even having a mystery? The bad guys pretty much say, hey, we did it. Back to the plot.
As soon as Shaggy and Scooby get back, we'll investigate this mining company for clues.
Too bad, we're not gonna do that. Shaggy has a bike race and Velma has a date with herself.
Man, she's got it bad for Windsor. Windsor?
Yeah, this could be really bad for our investigation.
Investigation. Or maybe it's our investigation that's bad for her relationship with Windsor.
It's bad, you idiot dog. It's bad. How can you not figure this out? So, we get a bike riding montage of Shaggy learning to ride. Meanwhile, we watch Velma on a date with her clone.
You are like my clone.
No, movie. No. Bad movie. It is my job to make jokes of how bad an idea it was making him look like Velma. You don't get to do that.
Really brave of you, saving Svankmeyer from the Phantasaur. Suspicious. You think that Phantasaur was...
Phantasaur. Is that all you ever want to talk about? Can we just please change the subject? Sheesh.
It's not like Shaggy's plot is any more entertaining. They squeeze out their musical number, which doesn't involve a monster chase, investigation, or trap. This is really the point of the movie. This is the main focus. Motorcycle races. So after watching Shaggy ride a motorcycle for a while, we, guess what? We watch him do it again. In the actual race. And now, with him hypnotized, he's back to being annoyingly out of character. I don't care what's going on. I really don't. I came for the mystery. And this has a whopping nothing to do with it. Rexy here comes in to remind us that he was in this movie.
Phantasaur thinks he's the tough guy, huh? Phantasaur thinks he's so bad.
So now even thinking the word causes him to swap back and forth? It was said during his hypnosis that he has to hear the word. Do you not realize how many thoughts a person has in a day, or even an hour? Did such a common word just never cross his mind? We find the villain's van controlling the dinosaur.
Look, the marks from those cables.
They're just like the snake tracks we saw at the dig.
And I'll bet I know where those cables lead.
I have a plan.
Why do we need a plan? Just yank the wires. Well, I guess it would be kind of hard, as they do only seem to appear sometimes.
It's the mining company, guys.
Yes, Daphne. The people you saw driving the same van before, pretty muchly admitting that they were behind the dinosaur attack, are indeed the villains. The villains do their little confessional thing, speaking without calling for lawyers. Have none of these villains ever watched a Law and Order episode?
But why go to all this trouble?
We just found a new vein of silver near the mines. But as long as those scientists were digging, we couldn't touch it.
So you...
Why are you even bothering telling us this? This is quite literally the same exact thing they said in the only other scene they're in. Did you really think we couldn't read between the lines of this dialogue? Did you really think you were writing these characters sneaky and unsuspicious-like? They return to the spa only to find that the super hypno machine thingy has been stolen. By who, you might ask? Velociraptors.
What would velociraptors want with holographic equipment?
Funny, because my first question is, why are there living velociraptors? I guess there's been a string of velociraptor robberies lately. Maybe it's not even that uncommon of an occurrence, but most of the time they're stealing small kitchen appliances and potatoes. They're really starting to up their game. So now Scooby-Doo decides to stop playing with motorcycles and Shaggy's extreme panic attack syndrome thingy. No, really, that doesn't come up again. And they decide to start playing Jurassic Park. I know it's a guy in a suit. So, does he know they're fake dummies and he's just playing around, or does this guy have some serious issues? They don't seem so bloodthirsty when they corner them all later. In fact, they just up and leave.
Where are they going?
Where are you going?
Oh yeah, here he comes. This is the monster we've all been waiting for. We've sat through boring motorcycle races and disturbing dates to get to this point. Oh, here he comes! I'm not impressed. I'm not excited anymore. I was so pumped. I was so thrilled when I caught a glimpse of him earlier. This episode was built upon my first experience seeing this movie. I was excited to see this monster, and darn it, they completely steal his thunder. They took this awesome, terrifying-looking monster and steal his awesomeness right out from under him. How, you might ask? How could this monster lose all his impressiveness from me watching the movie from the beginning, as it was intended? Was it from the boring plot lines? Not really. Was it from the villains that act so obvious despite them trying to convince us otherwise? Well, that certainly helped, but no. What stole his thunder is we already know how they did it. Do you remember the scene that quite literally happens right before the dinosaurs start to appear?
Last night, somebody broke in and took my PLR equipment.
The holographic projector thingy was stolen by raptors. Well, gee, I wonder what is making Rexy here pop in and out of the ground and able to look so intimidating. Oh, movie, you are so backwards. You are supposed to show us the monster first, and then later reveals the crucial clue that reveals how it's done, and points towards possible suspects. Not the other way around. You tell us how the trick is done before we even see the trick. I'm not intimidated by him because I already know he's a hologram. What if magicians did this sort of strategy? There is a card secretly under the table. And presto! Oh, look at that! I made a card appear! How amazing! You'll never figure out how I did that! So the Raptors play with the worthless bikers and Mystery Inc., despite them being guys in suits, while holographic Rex puts on a light show before mysteriously disappearing. Gee, I wonder how he did that! They convene back at the dig site to ask the suspicious paleontologists about the sightings.
That terrible creature must have done this.
Where's Windsor?
I sent everyone home after I saw this. I'm getting out of here, and if you have any sense, you will do the same.
Just because they don't say that they did it, or are not as obvious as the last pair, doesn't mean they're being sneaky.
Well, I guess we'll be leaving town now. Yep, here we go.
We're not really leaving, are we?
Of course not.
This explains so much, while all this obvious stuff just passes right in front of everyone. They take everything at face value. Diabolical plan and cover-up scheme? Nah, you don't need that. You just have to say you didn't do it. So the gang finally do what they should have done a half hour ago. Investigate the suspicious dig site filled with suspicious paleontologists. And now we're playing Home Alone.
Marbles!
And just like with the last dino, they unmask it with the second scene he appears in. Well, this was a mind-boggling mystery with many twists and turns, second-guessing everything along the way. They have the monster appear in one scene and reveal the perpetrators in the next. Oh, excuse me. They tell you how the monster works, then make the monster appear.
A paint stripper! It blows superheated air. They use this for the Phantasaur's fire breath. Look!
Whoa! That's even cooler than the hologram. But shouldn't we be following those guys?
Right!
Excuse me, you need to turn that off. That dangerous piece of equipment is still on. Stupid prone Daphne strikes again. If anyone was going to find the trap door, or get led into a trap, or get called away by the monster, it would be Daphne. But come on, she's not that stupid, she's just unlucky. So now that they've exposed the obvious villains, let's find out the other big question. Why?
A complete Allosaurus, perfectly preserved inside a single huge quartz crystal. It shouldn't be possible. I can't even begin to imagine the process by which this happened, but here it is. And here it's been for millions of years. Can you imagine how I felt the day we came upon this? It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. The most beautiful thing anyone had ever seen. It was my life's dream made real. I have never wanted anything so much. I'm quite sure I never will again. I had to make it mine.
Want it? Make it yours. That thing is huge. What are you going to do with it? Where would you keep it? How the heck were you even going to move it?
Of course, I saw through the mining company's fake Phantasaur right away.
And so did I. But I knew I could do something better. I'd seen Mr. Hubley's hologram projector, and I'd taken some computer animation classes.
Yes, we already figured this stuff out. You're showing us a bunch of scenes that had no part in this investigation, or you've already told us. We never see this dino park. We never see these construction guys. Wouldn't all of that been more interesting than bike riding?
I can't believe I've turned into a common criminal.
Me too.
Common criminals? Like, no way, man. You guys are super villains.
Super villains, my foot. Doofenshmirtz is a better villain than you guys. Thanks to stupid prone Daphne, the whole cave is coming down, and...
The only way any of us are getting out of here is if we all work together.
He's right. I know the lower caverns are bad, but there's no other choice.
There's a time for talk, and there's a time for action. Follow me.
Oh, right. That was a plot point in this. Funny, I forgot about that. Now, Shaggy is an uncharacteristically nuthole, but he leads them through the caves, over snakes, and finding the back exit.
Up there!
Where's the light coming from?
It's moonlight. That's the other exit.
That's not an exit. That's a small hole in the ceiling that's impossible to get to.
I was born hurried.
Is that part of the Brave thing where you say weird stuff that sounds like movie lines?
No, that's part of the terrible dialogue. There's a lot of that in this movie. But as he nears the exit, Daphne says...
Not bad.
Rad.
Finally, Scooby. I can't believe it really took you this long to figure that out.
What?
That's the key word. Rad.
Rad?
No, rad.
Sad? Dad?
Rad, rad, rad.
Cad? Tad? Pad?
What am I listening to? Daphne said 2 words. Daphne's been a complete moron in this movie, so I'm not surprised she can't figure it out. But come on, even Velma is stumped by this. So Fred gives some cheesy philosophy thingy, inspires Shaggy, who climbs to safety and finds the pointless bikers. Does everybody know about this random hole in the middle of nowhere? The gang's rescued, the last bomb explodes, it finally causes the Allosaurus to be revealed. I know quartz are very durable gemstones and all, but doesn't this seem like a very hazardous way to remove it from the earth? There's another point against these masterminds. Dino is now free to the world with no one getting hurt, apparently. Bad guys are led away. Fred got his extra credit because I know we were all super choked up over that plot line getting resolved. And they decide to unhypnotize Shaggy.
You will just be your usual self. Shaggy Rogers.
Oh look, he said his name right. Yay.
I'm Shaggy.
So now they're all hypnotized, making a very dumb ending to a terribly dumb movie. I don't think this thing even deserves to be called a Scooby-Doo movie. The point of a Scooby-Doo movie was to have a mystery. Ask questions of who done it and what were they after. This movie makes the actual mystery the subplot. Shaggy being hypnotized and being a biker got more screen time than any part of the investigation or monster appearances. The second plot point is Velma dating herself. And after all of that is done, then, and only then, do they decide to squeeze a monster mystery into the plot. And when they finally get around to that, they can't even make a decent mystery. The characters are just out of character. Daphne's a moron, Velma's dating a guy, and Shaggy, I really did not enjoy this hypnotism gimmick. He's uncomfortably out of character, even with all that braveness is inside you junk that Fred was saying. Well, apparently Shaggy's a huge nut hole on the inside too. You know what? Screw it. This is worse than the live-action movies. If you think about it, all three of these movies have the Scooby-Doo gang annoyingly out of character. They are focusing way too heavily on bad, unfunny gags.
Want some?
Like that. And most importantly, all of their mysteries are terrible, predictable, and a complete mess. But at least the live-action movies are focused on their terrible, predictable, complete mess of a mystery.
We're here to solve a mystery.
This movie can't even do that. It's completely focused on this motorcycle race and this Velma dating thing. This is a terrible movie, a terrible mystery, unpleasantly creepy, and boring. There are much better Scooby-Doo movies out there, so go check out one of those and stick away from this one. I am the Great Matthew Squeak, and this is Squirrel Talk Review. I thank my loyal subjects for watching. Please like and subscribe to me. Also, you may donate any monies you wish to donate to me on Patreon. No, I do not take candies as donations. Happy Halloween, everybody.